Welcome, everyone. This is Coffee with the Journalist. I'm Beck Bamberger, and we do this lovely show to better understand how to work with our journalists and our editors and reporters, freelancers, etc. Because as publicists, we need to know how to have better relationships with the media to get our jobs done. Everyone's job, by the way. And with us today, this is very fun, everybody. I'm quite excited, is Jill Manoff. She is the editor-in-chief at Glossy and Modern Retail. So if you are in the beauty space at all, or you like fashion, you are looking at retail as a business line, an industry, this is probably your person to be chatting with, right, Jill?
Thanks so much. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm
Yes.
so happy you are here. Give us just an overview, if you will. I like to have just straight from the horse's mouth on well, what does Glossy now encompass, and then modern retail, and maybe like the relationship between two, so people can understand that.
Oh, absolutely. I'll give you the Cliffs Notes high level. But we're both under the Digiday Media umbrella. Glossy launched about 9 years ago. It spun off of Digiday Media's retail coverage. Saw the opportunity that was happening with fashion. It was definitely a space that was moving fast, disrupting in terms of the strategies that they were embracing, the industry was embracing. It started as fashion, luxury, and technology being the focus. Later on, we added beauty to the mix, which really took off. And now that's a majority of our traffic, of our content, all the things. So yes, we cover the evolution of fashion and beauty, also wellness, with a focus on the lens, a tech digital lens, kind of where things are going in that direction. On the modern retail side, also kind of spun off of other coverage. Glossy doesn't cover
retailers.
Right. It's really more
the B2B.
Yeah, it's more
the enterprise. Yeah.
Retail, in terms of we cover Amazon, we cover Walmart, marketplaces, things that Glossy doesn't touch, and it's been booming. Our Amazon and Walmart coverage in particular has been doing great. But up that editorial team, we've got dedicated events and podcasts, and just really this engaged and loyal insider audience from the industry. So yeah, both B2B publications, and both do similar content in terms of we look at the evolution of the space and some emerging strategies that others in the space can kind of latch onto and get inspired by in terms of their day-to-day.
And just so other people kind of get this too, the other two platforms under the Digiday Media is Digiday, which is media marketing people, and then Work Life, which is on workplace, modern workplace, how we work, all that good stuff. So
yes, it's our newest publication. And from time to time, we'll share stories because, some stories apply to more than one publication. So it works out great.
So how's your inbox, Jill?
Well, I'm a zero-unread kind of a girl.
So
I get to bed. I don't understand when people tell me they have thousands. I'm like, get it together.
I do not understand that personally.
I know. I need it. But, we've got our little processes. We know the ones that we open and the ones that we don't, and the ones that we feel the need to respond to and the ones that we don't. So, I've got a little system happening, but I'm very clean inbox girl, even though I'm not I am saving everything, but everything is read. So I don't purge.
Yeah. So that's me too. I have, hundreds of thousands of emails at this point. Exactly. So the question on that though, is do you then search your inbox as your own personal Google file?
Yes. Usually when I'm looking for a specific contact who works with this brand, somebody that I need to get in touch with, yes, I do.
Yes. And what, by the way, can you give us an example of a search? Because this has come up on this show a number of times of how do you make your pitches, let's say, the most searchable, so that when a journalist is reviewing or trying to find that source again, that you're not being missed because you didn't include, MD in skincare / dermatology, something like that, where it just gives it a little bit more juice. How would you say?
Honestly, the latest example is just top of mind, and it's probably very obvious, is just to put the brand at the start of the subject line, the brand that you're representing, the brand that you're pitching. Like, for instance, one of my reporters just asked in our shared channel, who works with Beauty Counter now? Who's talked to Beauty Counter? So I just searched Beauty Counter. I didn't have a current contact since they just changed representatives, but that's what I was looking for. I was just looking for down the subject lines for Beauty Counter. I saw it in a couple, like within some emails, and it was just, I don't know, so other people mentioning it, but it definitely wasn't the PR person or contact I was looking for.
Okay, I see. Okay. Speaking of subject lines, we talked a little bit before we started hitting recording. How important is the subject line for you to assess? Do I need to respond to this or not?
Yes, I would say the subject line tells me if I should or should not open it. It tells me usually it has. Our thing is, it's tough. We actually just had a working group between both Glossy and Modern Retail today, and it was about how to use your inbox to your advantage. So it very, very much applies.
Really?
Because, we're very, as an editor, I like to say, get your stories from conversations.
Yes.
Up on what people are telling you that maybe they don't want to like blast out there to all of their contacts, but they told you a juicy bit, and that's the story we're going to tell. Nobody else is going to have that story. We were also talking about the fact that, these AI summaries, synopses in Google searches are really making things difficult. We don't want the same story that everyone's telling because it's going to show up and you're just going to get lost in the mix. We want something compelling, something original, maintain our original reporting and stories. And so, yes, I don't love the idea of just grabbing a pitch story and running. So we're like, how do we use our inbox besides just, and which of those pitches do we take? So it's like, we talked a lot about some of these tricks and I guess some spins that we hear from PR people where it's like, it's first stab at the story. And it's like, people don't consume content like that. Like, it's not necessarily advantageous to us as a subscription-based publication. Content worth paying for is what I always say. If another publication has the same exact story 30 minutes later, like a reporter to spend 8 hours or a full day writing a story that somebody else is going to have the exact same information. Like,
why would I have that? Yeah.
So there's a lot of conversation about like maybe not like don't maybe get fooled just because we have it first. How valuable is that? Maybe just because like an exclusive interview, like again, people are just like we're reading the subject lines of a pitch. People are reading the subject or the titles of a story. They're not necessarily going, well, did they talk directly to Beauty Counter?
Exactly.
Not people. That's not how people consume content. So it's like, what are these special access privileges that we're getting via these pitches, and how valuable actually are they? Usually, if the pitches that we're looking at and that we're excited about are with one of these, sometimes a publicly traded company, usually a very inspiring company, somebody who's maybe a disruptor in the space or just top company in terms of revenue, we want to talk to those guys because those are the companies that our readers are inspired by and want to hear from. And so if it is, I would just say maybe we don't take the pitch story. Like maybe we just say, well, I think that it's probably going to be a popular story across our competitors' publications. However, I would love to speak to the chief marketing officer at Gap. Yes, it sounds like a great interview opportunity. Would love to hear what you guys are working on. And so just use that to connect with some of these people because obviously we could end up writing about what they're excited about, but we could also make it a more robust story or write about something different altogether.
Ooh, I feel like you took us right into like the staff meeting that we never get to get into. So thank you for that. Okay, you touched on it a second, the AI summaries. And we haven't really, obviously years ago, we were not talking about this on this podcast, but how are you all, especially as an editor, thinking about what is now not SEO, but AEO, like answer engine optimization and so forth? What's that looking like?
Yeah, I'm not really thinking about that. Like, it's not my goal to show up in the AI summary. It's my goal to show up. Basically, ideally, we want that direct user who's coming to our site or who's signing up for our newsletter and going to our newsletter every morning. We're telling them things that they don't know they want. Like if they see our headline, they're like, it kind of sparks, ooh, what's that about? So it's like, it's not like it's clickbait, but I would say that it sparks interest and they want to learn more, but they don't necessarily know that they want to like search how is Target investing in physical retail this quarter or whatever. Like, we definitely want to bring something to the table that they didn't know. So they want to just come to us as their ultimate source to be better at their job and to learn what's new and emerging.
Yeah, what I'm really hearing is like, you're not the place for breaking news. This is not a breaking news game.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, ideally we'll come up with something or we'll hear something and say, wait, Hailey Bieber is getting acquired. Rhode is getting acquired.
Yes, it just happened. Yes.
Story, because we
For
just
those
heard
not
about
paying
it in
attention. Yeah.
But if the news is out there via a press release or somebody else, told the story, we won't necessarily pile onto that story. Often we actually say we'll do a day 2 story.
Oh.
That's an opportunity for us to talk to a bunch of analysts and a bunch of experts and maybe Hailey Bieber, maybe e.l.f., the company that acquired her, and get a more kind of full picture story about what's going on and what it means for the industry, so we can have a more thoughtful story out there in terms of the meaning, the implications for the industry, what it means for M&A, what it means for these celebrity founded brands, whatever the topic is. That's kind of our take usually, rather than just pile on.
Okay, I like this. So I think for the node there for publicists to know, it's just like, how do you do the second day? What's the second day pitch? And how can we be part of that?
Totally. And we do get that from time to time. Like we did for this is like the biggest story in beauty for quite some time, that e.l.f. acquired Rhode for $1 billion. And so we do get some pitches that say, we have this ultimate expert in-house. They would love to talk to you more about this news bit. And sometimes we'll take them up on it. If we are in the weeds already and having all these conversations, we may or may not like feature this source in a big way, but might say something compelling that we didn't think about in terms of implications. So that's a good way to go.
Okay. What about, Jill, for you as traffic control, I would imagine, because you will get pitches, and this is what we just heard from editors and editors in chiefs and so forth, of like, okay, I'm not writing all the stories. Okay. I have to farm them out, and I have to say, hey, writer, you maybe look at this, or doing that. Is that a lot of your job, the traffic control?
Yeah, it kind of is. And yes, I don't have a ton of time to write myself, but I tell you what, certain things I'm very passionate about, which menswear and certain luxury stories, I'm like, oh, I'm going to take the time.
That one.
So anyway.
I'm going to take that one.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So pitch me. But yes, I do see that. And I do see it as an opportunity to squash some of these things that I know that, like, if it goes to my reporter, they'll be like, should I write about this? And I'll be like, no. But sometimes if a PR person will say, who's the best contact for this type of a pitch, I'll just say, send it all to me. And I do look at everything that comes through. Sometimes I'll stop at the subject line, but I do give everything kind of a fighting chance and just send it to the reporter whose beat it aligns with, for sure.
Menswear. What's with menswear? You just love it?
So I don't know what it is. I geek out. I love the streetwear. Billy Reed and Todd Snyder and all these brands, like, they're so cool, the designers and the founders. I just love talking to them. They're so passionate. I'm not that women aren't, but it just makes me something about men being passionate about fashion. I listen to a podcast called Retail Therapy. Like, and there are two guys talking about fashion. I don't know what it is. I just love that.
Just wanted to get on that. Okay. And then what about, for example, on your author page, this article you did, why Gen Z is spending a lot of time in Coach stores. What made you do this one, and how did this piece come about?
Yes, it's similar to how we think about our cover. Anyway, this came about from an interview at an event. I think it was Shop Talk, and one of those big conferences. We do send some of our reporters to these events from time to time. Usually if they get a moderating opportunity. I moderated some sessions at Shop Talk. We always say we're not going to write a story based on whatever the heck is happening on that stage that everybody else is seeing and has access to. All the other reporters are watching the same conversation, but we do use those opportunities to set up tons of interviews. I almost like speed dating. Like, I'm doing so many interviews with people who I reached out to based on the fact that I know they're speaking there.
Yes.
It's Shop Talk. Everyone's there anyway. So I just reach out and say, if you're there, I would love to meet up. And I just talk about, like, current challenges, what's weighing on their mind, where they see opportunity, where they're investing new, like all these things that might spark a story idea. And I just so happened to have a meeting with a coach executive. I believe he is the head of creative and retail. I don't know his exact title. But yeah, he was just telling me they're doing all of these, basically catering their stores to Gen Z in terms of customization opportunities, setting up like DJs, like they're making a hot spot, and it's working. And he had all of this great data. P.S. Besides the big name company in the subject line, if you can share data in that subject line, like percent growth, it's reaching this amount of revenue. As a business publication, if a source is not going to be forthcoming with data and numbers, like we don't want that story, we're going to write it off immediately. You need to share numbers. We're a business publication. So he was very forthcoming, and it was very telling in terms of the success of this strategy. There was proof in the pudding. So that kind of stuff definitely is what we're looking for.
Okay. I like this. And fun, Jill, for you, I think is just the other to be like, yeah, I'm going to take this piece or I'm going to do that. I also like from this too, going to conferences, and I want to emphasize this for publicists. Conferences are where, of course, people come together, they're meeting in person, a lot of relationship building, but do not miss on, get all those meetings stacked, especially for someone like you, Jill, who's like, let me get 20 stories out of this. Yes.
Totally.
I haven't heard that from the reporter side or the editor side, but yes, you're there. Why not?
Yes.
Yeah, I just efficient.
Shop Talk Europe, and I'm like, use this opportunity. People are there to talk.
Yes. Okay. So speaking of, what other conferences do you like to go to? What's on your roster?
Oh my gosh, I've become a retail conference nerd because people keep asking me to moderate, which
I love. So now
I'm going to all of them. I'm going to e-tail. I'm going to Lead Summit. We've got our own Glossy and Modern Retail Summits, which are very valuable, y'all. But yeah, I've been doing Shop Talk, and gosh, what else? Maybe just those, but
okay. But those are your main ones? Okay, that's where you can find Jill, everybody. Speaking of like finding you, do you want to have any relationships with publicists? How does that look for you?
Oh my gosh, it's so fun. We talked about this today. It's good to know like who they are. We can have like our acquaintances. I said the words today, let's not get too chummy, because it's not like I scratch your back, you scratch, like, I don't know. It gets a little much where I hear like one of my reporters will be like, oh, so-and-so told me this, but I can't share it. I don't want to hurt the relationship. And I'm like, well, was it off the record? No. Was it on background? No. Well, I'm like, then we're telling the story. Like, what is the big secret? And it's always very touchy. And I'm like, if it's so touchy, like we're not be in a place where we are that reliant on a PR person or even any individual source. I'm always like we are kind of our own superpower. We shouldn't be so reliant on somebody like that. So anyway,
someone on this podcast recently said, oh yeah, when the publicist writes to me like, oh, great job, so glad we did this piece, he felt it was like we're not like collaborators on a piece. I mean, we worked together, but it wasn't like a group project that we got done. No, I'm doing my job. You were doing your job.
Yes. And it's
so Thank you for doing your job. Yes. What is this? What is this?
I would love to work with you. I would love if we could pull off a story on this. I'm like, it's a lot more work than me for me to write this thing. But and also, what was I going to say? Oh, it doesn't matter. But yeah, stuff like that.
Ooh, yeah.
Somebody just I got a pitch from I hope she doesn't listen to this, but like I got a pitch, somebody that was going to be in Miami for our conference. She reached out to me. It's an executive, a founder of a brand, and said, I would love to come to your conference. And I was like, we would love to have you. Do you want to lead this working group? Actually, we would love to have you and actually participate as a kind of a speaker. And she was like, amazing. And I was so happy to have her. She's amazing. And then her PR person out of the blue, like emailed me and said, I saw that my client was part of your event. How did this come to be? I was like, it just did. I was like, I guess I owed it you to tell you, but I don't really want to tell you.
Why would you put that in email? Because now it's documented that you had to ask the editor-in-chief.
I didn't like
how this came to be. Where is your client? Why didn't you pick up the phone and ask your client, like, hey, real quick, like, how'd you get this? That's embarrassing.
I didn't like it.
I really don't like it, Jill, because also waste of time to you. Why is it your job to tell the publicist how their client got to be on the stage? What?
I wanted to be like, because I guess she's more of a go-getter than you are.
Okay, Jill, you said it. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay, Jill, we have to wrap up here because my
Got all
next guest is
sassy
coming
there.
here. And no, but that's bad. And I have not heard an example like that before. Okay. Let us wrap it up here because I have another recording and we got to get going on the things. Okay.
You did good.
So actually, you know what? I'm going to skip the rapid fire questions. I'm going to go to Jill. What can we promote, celebrate, highlight for you?
Oh my gosh. That's so lovely. We've got our Glossy podcast. Listen to that.
Yeah.
We've got a beauty podcast and just the Glossy podcast, which is fashion focused. Obviously, come to glossy.co and modernretail.co for the latest retail coverage. There's actually a modern retail podcast as well. We've got some events coming up, Beauty and Wellness Summit in early November. But anyway, all of this info is on our site. You should check it out, and you should be there if you are an industry insider.
Jill Manoff, thank you for being here today. Everybody, this is the editor-in-chief at Glossy and Modern Retail in the Digiday empire that is. Thank you, Jill. Publicists, please do not ask an editor-in-chief how your client got something. No.
Thank you.
I've never heard that, Jill. That's a good one. Oh.
I'm sorry if you're listening.
No,
you're very lovely.
Just embarrassing. Okay. Oh, cringe. Jill, thank you so much. You were lovely.
Thank you so much for having me.
Have a good one, Jill.